Now we will discuss the thought of defamation. Every human being has a right to reputation. And this right to reputation is more valuable than any other right. Right? So if any person makes an injurious statement against the reputation of other, he will be liable for defamation. So defamation basically is a thought which injures the reputation and therefore actionable. A man's reputation is his property, more precious property, and other person is not allowed to injure the reputation of a person who has been held in high esteem by the public. So defamation basically a injury to the reputation which a man may himself suffer, right? So it is important to know that defamation is both a civil as well as criminal law. A person has an option either to file a civil suit in the court of law to claim damages or to file a complaint for criminal prosecution, right? So the next question is how we will prove the tort of defamation. In order to establish the tort of defamation, the plaintiff has to prove certain things. Number one, he has to prove there is a false defamatory statement. There is a false defamatory statement without any justification. Second, such false and defamatory statement refer or about a plaintiff. You can say the statement, the false and the defamatory statement must be about a particular person, that is plaintiff. And third, such false and defamatory statement must be published. So three conditions have to prove for establishing the tort of defamation. First, there should be false and defamatory statement without any justification. Such false and defamatory statement must be about a particular person, that is plaintiff, and such statement must be published. So we will discuss these conditions one by one. Suppose there is a false and defamatory statement. What is false and defamatory statement without any justification? Suppose if a TT, while checking the ticket, called upon the plaintiff to produce his ticket, and he made a statement in the presence of other co-passenger that I suspect you don't have a valid ticket. The plaintiff produced the ticket which was valid. So now if the plaintiff wants to sue the TT for defamation, can he sue? There is a statement, but such statement was made in good faith in the exercise of the public duty by the TT. So TT cannot be liable for defamation because he has justification, he has a duty to check the ticket. So he made a statement just to check whether he has a valid ticket or not, right? Second thing is, defamatory statement should be such which tends to injure the reputation or character of the plaintiff. Now the question is whether a statement is defamatory or not depends how the high thinking member of the society are likely to take it. The standard to be applied is that of a right-minded citizen, a man of fair intelligence. A statement is defamatory if a substantial and respectable proportion of the society would think less of a person. When the statement causes anyone to be regarded with feeling of hatred, ridicule, or derision, it is defamatory. A statement can be prima facie defamatory, which means that the statement is injurious to someone's reputation on the face of it. So the statement must be defamatory and false. It must be referred to a particular person. It must be published. So the statement, the false and defamatory statement must refer to a particular person. Suppose if I say all the lawyers are thieves and corrupt, involved in immoral practices, can any lawyer sue me for defamation? No, he cannot sue me because I am not referring to any particular individual. There are millions of lawyers in the country who are practicing in the court. So nobody can sue me for defamation because my statement is general, not referring to any particular person. But suppose if I say Ramu has a tendency to lie and steal the things, So here there is a statement referring to a particular person. Now if it is false and defamatory, so the Ramu can sue me for defamation. So defamation cannot be against the classes of person. It should be against a particular person only. Third, the statement must be published. Publication here means someone other than plaintiff gets to know of it. Suppose husband and wife. If husband says some abusive or vulgar words to the wife, it cannot be defamation, because defamation is an injury in the eyes of other people, not in the opinion of the plaintiff. But if wife says something to the husband which is defamatory, husband cannot sue the wife for defamation. Suppose husband wrote a letter to the wife accusing her of adultery and other immoral practices. The letter is opened by the father of the wife. So now it is a defamation, because the wife father know about the content which he has written in the letter. So here the clear cut will be the case of defamation. Second thing, intention to defame is not required. Simply if a statement is false and defamatory, the person would be liable for defamation. Right? For example, suppose X and Y were in love with each other and wanted to marry each other, but their boss does not like them. He started a rumor out of jealousy, that both are living in a relationship. He passes this information to his secretary, and secretary spread this rumor to everyone in the office. Now when they came to know about this, they decided to sue the boss for defamation. Yes, they can sue the boss because the statement was false and defamatory. Clear? Now there are some defenses to the defamation also under the law of tort. What are those defenses? Truth. Truth is a complete defense to the defamation. If a person is making a statement which is based on true facts, he will not be liable for defamation. Suppose Arvind Kejriwal, he published a list of corrupt leaders. Now, if his allegation is right based on the fact, he cannot be liable for defamation. But if he cannot prove the allegation against the leaders, then he will be liable for defamation. So truth is a complete defense provided it is based on the true facts. Second, fair comment. It is also a defense to the defamation. Suppose if a person makes a comment on anything which is in public interest, he cannot be liable for defamation. Suppose if I say that that book contains some vulgar material, Zad is a man of impure mind, he is a libertine, based on the Zad book. So it cannot be a defamation. It is a fair comment. But if I, without reading, makes such a statement, then I will be liable for defamation. Third defense is privileges. Privileges is also a defense to the defamation. There are certain occasions where the defendant will not be liable. What are those occasions? Those occasions are the privileges, like parliamentary privileges and judicial privileges. Like in parliament, the member of parliament are not liable for anything done or said within the four walls of the parliament. They can abuse each other, they can throw chair on each other, they can do whatever they want just to express themselves. So these provisions are there under the Indian Constitution. They actually provide for the free and fair debate on the floor of the parliament without any fear and favor. So they cannot be liable, they enjoy the privileges which are applicable to them. Second, judicial privileges. It is also a defense to the defamation. During the course of judicial proceedings, the lawyer can ask any question which can be vulgar, which can be defamatory, but the person cannot sue him or her for defamation because he enjoys that immunity under the judicial proceeding. So these are the defenses to the defamation to avoid the liability by the defendant.